My viewers sent me dozens of pictures from all around the city of Chicago, everything from iconic tourist destinations to obscure building interiors. I'm gonna find exactly where each one was taken. This is the Chicago Picture Hunt. First, let me explain why I'm doing this in the first place and how it's gonna work. As you can guess from my channel name, I live in Chicago, and I've been here all 22 years of my life. I'm in love with the city, and exploring it from childhood to adulthood has shaped who I am as a person. I always enjoy finding out what people do and see when they visit my city, and by the way, if you've ever been, let me know your favorite thing here in the comments. So, to the pictures. I asked you all to send me your Chicago pics, and only ones actually taken in Chicago, not the suburbs. I'm not allowed to use reverse image search while doing this, but I can check Street View, search Google, and even go explore outside. As I was downloading the first batch of pictures, I roughly sorted them into 8 difficulty levels, level 1 being something I pinpointed immediately upon seeing it, and 8 being practically impossible. So with all of that said, let's get into this. This first one was sent in by RIP, the sign marking the iconic start of Route 66 downtown, which is right by the Art Institute at Adams and Michigan. Here's a funny one from Hernus, which I knew right away was the CB2 across from the Apple Store on North Avenue, featuring a Google Street View car. I tried to find the coverage showing Hernus taking this picture, but sadly going through all the years, I couldn't find anything matching the other cars in the shot. There was this nice view of the Montrose Harbor Pier from Neenah, which I've walked out onto a couple times, and is right by where I played soccer as a kid. A couple more pics with personal connections to finish up level 1, Ultratech's shot of Wintrust Bank next to Orange Garden, an iconic old school Chinese place in my own neighborhood, and then this shot inside the University of Chicago's North parking garage where I'd skate and bike with friends when I was a student there. Somehow there's no Google Street View next to this entrance, but thankfully Apple Maps came in clutch and I verified this one on my phone. The pictures of level 2 I also recognized immediately, but finding exactly where they were taken needed extra pinpointing work. This lovely skyline shot from Apollo Bow is a good example. It's on the Dan Ryan Expressway south of downtown, which I could tell from the position of the Sears Tower and other prominent buildings. A truck blocked my view in the newest Street View, and in checking older dates, I saw that I had the right position above the shipping crate yard. Here's one from Rumi, which is a Zodiac statue I recognized from a plaza in Chinatown, which I found after checking a few photospheres in the area. This one, submitted by Tyler3680, was a fun puzzle. Obviously the Sears Tower, but not instantly clear which street we're looking up to it from. The architecture and placement of other buildings suggested we were in South Loop somewhere, and sure enough, after checking 3D imagery, I found that it was taken from State Street just north of 9th. With these pictures, I mostly knew what they were, or at least where to search, and could find them with some pinpointing work. This beautiful high-rise view from Acela 2163 is looking west to the sunset, and from the lack of other tall buildings in frame, we'd be far west in the skyline. I found the buildings in view using 3D imagery, and this put us in River Point Tower, a gorgeous building I actually had an interview in years ago. Another nice view with Daschnutz's pic here, and I was challenged to guess the hotel room number. That at least told me it was taken in a hotel, and recognizing the Chicago Tribune facility along the river, I figured out this was the Holiday Inn. This feels pretty high up, almost level with the building's roof on the left, but I have no clue what room we're in. Top floor somewhere? Last for this level is a mural of controversial Kanye West, which is obviously somewhere under the L tracks. At first I thought this was by the Green Line on 63rd, but couldn't find it there. Google told me it was recently vandalized after his hateful comments, and that it was along Lake Street, which is the other end of the Green Line. After reading this, I found it pretty quickly between Sangamon and Morgan. These are getting harder now, and I only had broad ideas for where to search. This picture from Lunacy Echo looks impossible at first glance, but I actually recognized it from an art installation I saw at the Smart Museum on UChicago's campus. I figured this probably wasn't where Lunacy Echo actually saw it though, since it's in the Art Institute's collection. The floorboards didn't quite match Wikipedia's picture though, so I browsed more photos and found the matching floor in the Art Institute's modern wing. Looney sent in this poll that's seen better days. The high-rises and architecture in the back generally felt like Lincoln Park or Old Town to me, and I used 3D imagery for a bit to find the right buildings. Eventually, I was able to line it up with the staircase on the left, putting us at the intersection of Clark and Belden. This last one was pretty tricky, and it took me 15 minutes. Tile art of the Chicago Blues Festival sent in by Panzerschreck. With no context, I thought the tiles looked like a CTA station, but I couldn't find anything with several searches. Browsing through websites, I came across an interactive map from the Sun-Times of mosaics and murals across the city. I filtered it to culture, and finally found this mosaic at the corner of Van Buren and Federal. At this level, I realistically had no idea where any of the pictures were, but based on what's in them, I figured they'd be findable. First up is KP's classy 7-Eleven T-pose pic, which looked fairly familiar. Took me about 10 minutes of checking dozens of Northside locations until I finally found it on Damon in the Wicker Park neighborhood. This mirror maze from Urban Indie looks pretty cool, like something you'd see at Millennium Park, but I couldn't think at all what it was. Beyond a good laugh from Google image search results, I found nothing in Chicago. I did, however, come across an article about a mirror maze in Brooklyn Bridge Park in New York City though, and sure enough, this picture was taken there and not in Chicago. But it was still fun to solve this one, so I kept it in the video. This one took way longer than it should have, but by pure coincidence, Benji on Desert Sky submitted pictures of the same row of 3 flats, which proved critical. The architecture style, again, much like Looney's picture, is extremely Linkin Park, so I got to work scanning around there. Benji's picture had what looked like a church, so I searched up those on Google Maps, but was having no luck since I somehow convinced myself we were on a north-south street, which turned out to not be the case. As we see in Desert Sky's picture, the address number of the closest house was obstructed, but I could see it probably started with a 6 or an 8, putting us most likely in the 600 or 800 block of an east-west street. Sticking to the church strategy, I finally found it here on the 600 west block of Fullerton after over half an hour of searching. Level 6 brings us a couple locations that I thought were going to be extremely tough when I was first sorting through these, but I actually found them both really quickly. Ultratech sent in this random warehouse and parking lot picture, and the first thing I noticed when searching was this blue and white painted car, a common taxi around Chicago. Google confirmed that they're called Flashcab, and I unexpectedly found what I guess is their headquarters or storage on my first try. This one is actually really interesting too, since it's located in the tiny piece of land that connects O'Hare Airport to the rest of the city. This cozy looking bar from Hernes I didn't recognize at all, but Google must have liked my search query of Chicago bar with shuffleboard and foosball since it gave me the aptly named game room among the first results, which turned out to be correct. I've got to go check this place out, it seems awesome. This level brings us some interior pictures that at first glance I thought lacked information, but with the proper knowledge and detective work they weren't too bad at all to find. Rayturn05 submitted what's clearly a Chipotle, food that got me through college, and I recognized it right away from that bowl and the interior design. I really thought this one would be impossible, but I'm pretty sure that I found the exact right one first try by pure luck going from north to south. The Chipotle by the Loyola University campus seems to have the same light fixture, weird washboard looking walls, and it feels like everything lines up based on Rayturn's picture. I've had some ridiculous luck with these last few. JDU909 sent in this intriguing interior picture. At first I thought we were in some hotel or shopping mall and the stuff hanging from the ceiling was a modern light fixture. But after looking closer, I thought they looked sort of like dog tags used in the military, and sure enough, by searching Chicago dog tags hanging from ceiling, I discovered that this was the National Veterans Art Museum, another place I've never been but should really check out sometime. It's at 6 Corners in the Portage Park neighborhood. The level 8 pictures are basically impossible. With these, it would take sheer luck to even find them, and even then they're so ambiguous that I honestly could see multiple places in the city matching, such as this celebratory plate from Urban Indie. Well, never finding this one. I did try briefly for a couple level 8 pics though, like this one from Bagaboy Bailey of a flower vase next to exposed brick. I figured this was a restaurant, but I had no clue what to search for beyond just describing the image to Google, and that was a failure. There was a Chick-fil-A straw on the table, which was either a good clue or the biggest red herring of all time. It didn't take me long to give up here. Looney's outdoor pic of a dirt patch and cream-painted brick wall was a similar story. I sat for about 1 minute trying to think, and then realized it would be just impossible. Maybe I'm not as cut out for this picture-searching job as I thought. What you've seen in this episode is only a small fraction of the pictures you all sent me. I had a lot of fun finding this first batch, and if you guys enjoyed it too and want to see another episode, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll catch you later.